Om Shanistaraya Namaha, Shani Bappa Bhagavanta. We are doing Shani Mahatma now. First we pray to Gajanana, Gananayaka, Ekadanta, Vardakayaka, Vinayaka and ask him to bless us. Then we ask the blessings for goddesses of speech, Saraswati who rides the swan and also hails in her hand. We also seek blessings of our Guru. We also pray to Panduranga with the blessings of God. After listening to this narration with due concentration, all the obstacles in your path will be removed. Vikramaditya once ruled the city of Ujjaini. He was a righteous, intellectual, philanthropic, and ever anxious to relieve his subjects of any misery. He treated his citizens like they were his children, and they in turn regarded him as their father. One day, there were many learned and wise men in his court, so king decided to commence a discussion about which planet was superior among the group of 9 planets. So the men opened their books and scriptures and came forward to take part in the discussion by telling the audience about their favorite planet. The first wise man started with the planet Sun. He said, Sun is very important and the chief deity, as all the rest of the planets move according to his command. He is called Surya Narayan, which means sun god. Sun gives life to all the creatures. All the persons who worship Surya Narayan get everything in life. One can get rid of pain due to illness and poverty just by thinking about sun, and those who worship the sun will all have their desires fulfilled. Though all the 9 planets are powerful, Surya Narayan has a great strength and has a power to enlighten the whole world. We can see this with our own eyes, and this is why he is the greatest of all planets. Then the second wise man stood up in front of the assembly and said, Moon is the best planet. Moon is a gardener and owns all the plants and trees. At night, he gives light to all the plants and trees and nourishes them to grow. He is the king of night with a huge body. He has 16 phases, is of clear mind, and troubles no one. In fact, he is famous for his calming effect, and this is why Lord Shiva keeps the moon on his forehead to soothe himself. Moon gives pleasure to all, so it is nice to worship moon. The third wise man stood up and said to the king, Mars. Mars is a goldsmith. He is very powerful and cruel. We do not know about his cruelty, which is like the edge of the sword. We don't know how it will swing. However, Mars will bless his worshippers and will always be happy with them and will fulfill all their desires. Those who do not worship Mars due to their pride will face his wrath, lose all his wealth, descendants, and ultimately be ruined. And hence we should pray Mars. The fourth wise man started to say, Mercury is very powerful. Of all the planets, Mercury has amazing valor. He is merchant and is an apex among the 9 planets. He is a prince of celestial bodies. If Mercury is pleased with you, he will make you rich and make your path to success free of any barriers. Mercury is very wise and not cruel. He removes the worldly worries of everybody all the times. And hence we should pray Lord Mercury. The fifth wise man rises up. He says, Jupiter has an amazing power. Jupiter is ranked first among the gods, including Indradev. The extent of Jupiter's knowledge is beyond comprehension. He is full of mercy to his devotees. He removes the earthly pangs and crushes the negative outcomes of your deeds. Just by looking at him, you will be rid of all the sorrow, pain, and poverty. Jupiter is the most desirable among the 9 planets. Jupiter is a Brahmin, the highest caste. All the gods respect him and listen to him. Even if you don't pray other planets, just by serving Jupiter, all the other planets will be pleased. Even Lord Shiva praised the Jupiter, and this is why Jupiter is ranked the first. Then the sixth wise man stood up and said, Venus. Venus is a very good planet. Venus is known as Shukra in Sanskrit. Shukra favored demons by using the Sanjivani mantra for rejuvenating demons after their death. Shukra is also demons' guru or a spiritual master. All the 3 universes are under his command and he has boundless power. Shukra will destroy all the deeds, good or bad. Just by chanting his name, all the obstacles will vanish. Those who worship Shukra obtain limitless courage. Shukra's body is bright and shining, and he is one-eyed. Just by remembering his name, you will get rid of all the pains, illness, poverty. His greatness is legendary to the scriptures, and that is why he is the greatest of 9 planets. After listening to all these 6 planets, King Vikramaditya nodded his head and said, "You have done an excellent job to describe the greatness of the planets. So we should all remember these planets all the time. Now let us know if any other planets are left, and if so, let us hear more about them." Then one wise man rose up. He said Rahu and Ketu are 2 peculiar planets. They both come from the dynasty of demons, and they belong to Matang caste. Both of them are very cruel. The moon and sun are scared of these planets and shudder by just looking at them. Rahu troubles Chandra, the moon, and Ketu troubles Surya, the sun. We observe this effect every time an eclipse occurs. They also trouble all humans as well as other creatures. O King, both of them trouble all of us as per their nature, just as both of them look alike. However, they are appeased and when worshipped. So when we should always remember to worship them. Worshipping Rahu and Ketu will make them happy and appease them, and then they will not trouble you. Listening to this, the 9th wise man stood up. The 9th wise man said, "Shanidev, Saturn is the greatest planet of all and has the most amazing strength. We do not know his style, but a person gets easy ways after getting Shanidev's blessing. He is the cause of all pains, but can also give great happiness. When he gets angry, he will give a person many problems. Shanidev gets angry very quickly and is capable of causing the complete ruin of an individual. This is why many people worship him for his blessing. His appearance is that of an oilman and his body is black. He walks lamely but is handsome. He worships the god of time Kal Bhairav. He is undefeated in any battle, whether the battle is with gods or demons, and can crush anybody merely with his looks. When Shanidev was born, he looked at his father, the sun god. He looked at his father, the sun, who was riding his chariot and the horses. As soon as he looked at them, the sun got infected with terrible skin disease. The charioteer turned lame and the horses became blind. They all tried every other remedy but without any success. When Shanidev looked at them again, the sun god with his charioteer and the horses became normal and healthy. When King Vikramaditya listened to this, he laughed. He said it was useless to give birth to this kind of a son. This son is just like an enemy. O wise man, tell me, if this kind of son damages so much at just at his birth, how much more damage he might do when he grows up? King Vikramaditya said this very loudly while clapping his hand in mockery. As King Vikramaditya finished saying, a very strange thing happened. Now please listen very carefully what happened next. At this time, Shanidev was flying in the vicinity on his chariot. Upon hearing king's comment, he descended his chariot and entered the king's court. When the wise men saw Shanidev on his chariot, they told king that Shanidev was there. So king immediately stood up and bowed down at Shanidev's feet. But Shanidev pushed him aside and said, "You are an arrogant king, amazingly good in sarcasm and taunting, so now I will show you the wonder that you will never forget. Because you spoke about me with such sarcasm and mockery, I, the Saturn, will move in the place of Virgo in your horoscope. Then you will see my amazing power and result of your bad luck." After saying this, Shanidev embarked on his journey. Deeply upset, king begged for mercy and asked for forgiveness, but Shanidev refused and insisted that he would definitely show the bad result and swiftly flew away. The king was so sad and he started to think. He said to the wise men that he was very silly for making fun of Shanidev, and through his impulsive comments had hurt Shanidev's feelings unnecessarily. So now he knew Shanidev will definitely trouble him. So what shall I do? Is there any way I can fix this situation? But deep inside, King Vikramaditya knew that what he had done was wrong and accepted that whatever is going to happen will happen. So King became sadder about his fate. He adjourned the meeting of the wise men and went to his bedroom to rest. About a month passed by, and Shanidev moved to the 12th house of King Vikramaditya's horoscope. This is supposed to be the worst and the cruel situation that would happen in anybody's horoscope. It is called Sadesati. Then the wise man said that king should worship Shanidev, as Shanidev would definitely rule his horoscope for next 7.5 years. Since the king made fun of Shani, Shani would trouble him and he would trouble all the three universes. The wise man then showed the method as how one could worship Shanidev. Now listen carefully. First, take a shower with the medicinal herbs. Then take an iron horseshoe, and make an idol from the horseshoe. Then install that idol in an earthen pot. By pouring a mixture of oil and water on the idol, repeat Shanidev's name 23,000 times. Om Pram Prim Pro Sa Shanischaraye Namaha. 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 Repeat Shanidev's name for 23,000 times. Once this is complete, give gifts to Brahmin and poor, as well as make them happy. Then Shanidev will be happy. But Shanidev was not pleased. He told the wise men to leave and go home. Now listen carefully what happened next. After a few days, sometime in the afternoon, Shanidev came to Ujjaini in the disguise of a horse trader. King Vikramaditya also came there and inquired about the horse prices. Not knowing the horse trader was Shanidev in disguise, he inquired about the horse prices. Then Shanidev said, "Try this horse and you will know what the real worth of the horse is." He brought a nice horse with a rider on the horse. The horse rider moved the horse in circles. The horse had a very good speed. Then he brought another beautiful horse and said, "This horse is worth 1,000,000 rupees." He immediately brought this horse in front of the king and asked him to ride the horse. The king was impressed looking at the beautiful horse, and he mounted the horse and used his whip to make the horse run faster. This made the horse to run at the speed of wind, and the horse kept running faster and faster. To calm down the horse, the king whipped again, but the horse started to run even faster, as if the horse was flying. Soon the horse took the king far away on the other side of the river into a forest. When horse eventually stopped, the king stepped down to examine his surroundings. Immediately the horse disappeared, and also the river and the forest disappeared. He thought nobody knows how the god acts, so why should he bother about the horse, the river? As the night began to fall, King Vikramaditya would no longer see the path in front of him, so he rested his head on the ground and fell asleep. When the sun rose in the morning, he began walking and walked about 8 miles. He walked 8 miles towards a city called Tamalinda. Now let us see what happened in the city of Ujjaini, Vikramaditya's home. 8 hours passed and still King Vikramaditya did not return. So all the citizens of Ujjaini waited and waited for the king. So Shanidev, disguised as a horse trader, asked the Prime Minister either to pay the price of the horse or return the horse. Prime Minister, not knowing what to do, he paid the full price of the horse. Then Shanidev as a horse trader went away. But Prime Minister became very sad and he started to search for the king. All the citizens participated in the search all over the country. Now let us see the condition of King Vikramaditya. As he entered the city of Tamalinda, he met a very rich merchant. A rich merchant who owned a local shop, and his name was Shripati. His sales were always double. After seeing the king, the merchant thought about him as a very fine gentleman. So the merchant invited the king to his house. He invited the king to his house with some calculated schemes. He asked the king to refresh himself by taking a shower, and then he inquired about him. So the king replied that he was a Kshatriya and came from the foreign land and was in transit. Then the merchant ordered nice meal of 6 flavor. Vikramaditya was eating this meal whilst he was dining, asked Vikramaditya to stay for the night and leave in the morning. After the dinner, the merchant asked for more details about the king. Very frankly, he had some other intentions about the king. It so happened that the merchant had a daughter of a marriageable age called Alolika. Alolika would not find a suitable match for herself, nor could the merchant find one for her. So merchant had an idea that this Kshatriya would be a good match for Alolika. So he went to find her and tell her the good news. When he found Alolika, he excitedly told her, "I found a very good match for you. Please marry him without any hesitation." But Alolika said, "Let me talk to him and then I can judge from the way he talks whether the Kshatriya is a good match for me. You might have seen many good qualities in him, but still, let me judge him." So she asked her father to send the Kshatriya to the guest room. The guest room was nothing but a studio for a painter. So Shripati went back to Vikramaditya and told him that studio was available if Vikramaditya wanted to sleep. So keen not to offend his host, Vikramaditya went to the guest room. When king reached to the guest room, he saw that there were many paintings. There were beautiful paintings of birds such as swan, peacocks, nightingales. Also he saw the paintings of animals like horses and elephants. The paintings were so realistic that one could feel that the horses and the animals would come alive. They would come alive and walk out of the paintings. Looking at this beautiful scene, he sat on his bed, which was decorated with jewels and beautiful colors and flowers. He also noticed that there were many lamps in every corner. On seeing this, he was astonished and kept on marveling about the customs of that place. Then he thought about what to do and decided to face the next moment as they come. Deep down, he knew that Shanidev, who bothers all, must have planned this event and these thoughts. Vikramaditya tried to go to sleep. Unfortunately, his mind was still at unease, so he covered his head to try and get sleep. After a short while, Alolika entered in the studio where the king was sleeping. She brought with her all the paraphernalia as per the customs of the time, such as 5 oil lamps in a plate with a flower, etc. To greet the king, she did a beautiful makeup and wore pearl necklace and used a very aromatic perfume. She also wore anklet which were making very pleasant sound. She had diamond ornaments on her hands which were shining very bright. She was looking like a beautiful statue and stood in front of Vikramaditya. Vikramaditya, who was pretending to be asleep. As he did not awaken, Alolika thought for a while and sprinkled some water from a sandalwood jar. Vikramaditya still pretended to be asleep. After 2 hours passed, so Alolika got tired and took off her pearl necklace and hung it on a peg. Eventually she fell asleep, somewhat worried and disappointed. Then Vikramaditya uncovered his head and started to think, who is this girl and why is she sleeping next to me? Keen not to commit any immoral doings, Vikramaditya decided it would be best to control his desire and treat this girl like a daughter and talk to her in that respect. Then he looked around and again saw the paintings. Suddenly, as if it was a miracle, a swan from one of the paintings came alive, approached Alolika's pearl necklace which was on the peg, and he grabbed it with the mouth. The king was astonished and frightened a little. The king was astonished to see that how this could happen, and he tried to snatch the pearl necklace from the swan's mouth, but he could not, as it would go against his principles of hurting any living being. So he watched as the swan swallowed the entire necklace. Confused about what he witnessed, Vikramaditya became tired and fell asleep. Next morning, Alolika woke up and thought to herself, this person is the greatest fool of all. The whole night I was sleeping near him and he never woke up. Clearly this Kshatriya has no manliness. She was very angry and felt insulted that King Vikramaditya was not attracted to her. So she started to leave the room and looked for her necklace. She looked for her necklace which was supposed to be on the peg. The necklace was missing. So she woke up Vikramaditya and accused him of stealing the necklace. She ordered him to return the necklace and get out of the way she came. She also threatened to tell all the villagers about what had happened and told Vikramaditya that he would face public humiliation and shame for his act and theft. So king said that he did not take a necklace and just because he slept there he was being accused. Alolika became very angry. She became very angry and immediately told her father that perfect match he had brought home was a mere professional thief. He was a thief who stole her necklace. Then she told her father to get the necklace from the guest and send him away. Then Shripati said to Vikramaditya, I gave you a nice place to live. I gave you a nice dinner. And on top of that, I was about to offer you to marry my daughter. But in spite of this, you stole her necklace. How foolish you behaved. This way you are returning my favor. So return the necklace immediately and go back to where you came from. Vikramaditya was very confused. Vikramaditya said to the merchant that he did not take the necklace and as a result of his fate and his decision, he was in trouble. On hearing this, Shripati got even angrier and he ordered his servant to tie up Vikramaditya and beat him mercilessly until the necklace was returned. The servants did as ordered. The merchant kept on saying, beat him, return the necklace immediately. After getting beating so much, king got fatigued and said to his merchant, I do not have the necklace. You are beating me unnecessarily. Then Shripati thought that this guest was a real seasoned thief and he would not give the necklace. So being a very practical person, he went to king's court. The king was King Chandrasen of Tamalinda city. He told everything about Vikramaditya the thief. After hearing Shripati's complaint, King Chandrasen ordered Vikramaditya to be brought in the royal court for questioning. So a group of Shripati's servants rushed to King Vikramaditya in front of King Chandrasen. Vikramaditya bowed down to King Chandrasen and stood in front of him. Then King Chandrasen ordered Vikramaditya to return the necklace to Shripati to save his life. The king Vikramaditya said, I never spoke lie. I did not take the necklace. Unnecessarily you are all thinking about what really was not happened. The positions of planet in my horoscope are not favorable to me. That gave me trouble. Whatever has to happen, happened. One should not rob, but he should be forgiven. So please have mercy on me. Please have mercy. After listening to this, King Chandrasen became very furious and thought that Vikramaditya was playing games. He became so furious, he said in a roaring sound to the servant, cut off his hands and feet and throw him out of the city. Leave him without food and water. It was Shanidev who spoke through King Chandrasen and hence Chandrasen was not thinking properly. Immediately the servants got ready and took King Vikramaditya out of the city and cut off his hands and feet. So all the citizens wept for this disaster. The servants went to King Chandrasen and said, after cutting off the limbs, there is no point to think whether he survived or died. This person will surely die. Now, King Vikramaditya was in a great agony day and night. He used to scream, he used to shout in a severe body pain. He was hungry, he was thirsty. He was twitching like a fish without water. Some people who used to pass by saw him and felt sorry for him, but they were helpless due to the fear that if they give food and water to King Vikramaditya, it would make King Chandrasen unhappy, and if they disobeyed the order of not to give food and water to Vikramaditya. Vikramaditya was also weeping and was begging for mercy from Shanidev. So Shanidev became merciful and compassionate and thought that King Vikramaditya is now pushed to the limit of agony. So he made King Chandrasen think mercifully and king decreed, it is okay to give food and water to the limbless thief. Then King Vikramaditya got plenty of food and water, but being limbless, he had great pain all the time and he used to scream day and night due to agony. Vikramaditya suffered in his state for 2 years. Now it so happened that later on one day, an oilman's wife was going in her in-law's place. In those days, travel for some people were done by carrying a traveler by 4 strong men on a chair. She was being carried like this into her in-law's place. She was passing through the forest where King Vikramaditya was lying in a limbless condition. She was originally from Ujjaini and her in-laws stayed in city of Tamalinda. Since it was on her way, she saw King Vikramaditya. She wondered why the king was there. So she got down and she went close to the king and thought that without the limbs, the king must be in a horrible situation. Then King Vikramaditya saw her and said, "May you and your husband live for a very long time," as he was able to recognize her from Ujjaini. King Vikramaditya blessed her and said, "May you and your husband live for a long time and let me know any news from back home in detail." Then she said, "Everybody is okay and doing very well back home in Ujjaini. But how did this happen to you? How did you come to this condition?" Then King replied, "This is a result of my fate. The position of the planets in my horoscope was not favorable. So God put me in this condition." Then he narrated the whole history about his condition. So the lady said, "So this is the luck you have." Then she told other men who carried her to carry the king on the chairlift and brought him to her house with great respect. When the oilman, her father-in-law, saw the limbless king, he was very frightened. The oilman thought that King Chandrasen would be angry, and if he knew that he was supporting this limbless person, he was scared that king would punish him. But his daughter-in-law said that this limbless person was in fact King Vikramaditya of Ujjaini, and it was their fortune that he would bring him home. She said that this king was a jewel thrown in a heap of garbage. Unconvinced by her daughter-in-law's thoughts and saying, the oilman went to see King Chandrasen and told him that he wished to house the condemned thief as he felt compassion for the limbless thief. So king, being in a kind mood, allowed the oilman to bring the limbless thief home. Vikramaditya told him, "Please do not disclose to anybody that I am Vikramaditya, the king of Ujjaini." So the oilman said, "This is fine with me. You stay here and I will provide you the food and clothes. You help me to operate the grinder to extract oil from peanuts and other nuts." Then Vikramaditya said, "You have done this favor to me very wisely and saved me from the disaster. I am grateful to you." And with this kind of arrangement and hardship, the king stayed with the oilman for 5 years. So total he spent 7 years, 2 years in the jungle and 5 years at the oilman's house. Now the next part of the story needs total attention for you to understand. One evening, King Vikramaditya, when he was staying at oilman's house, started to sing while he was operating the grinder. The musical composition of Rag Deep is mostly sung in the evening and is played by an artist. So king was singing Rag Deep with extreme precision and in a most melodious voice. It is said that if Rag Deep is sung with an intense accuracy and in a most melodious voice, the oil lamps are lit automatically. As such was the situation, thousands of oil lamps were lit automatically as the king started singing. The whole city was illuminated as if the festival of Deepavali started. At that time, Prince Padmasena was sitting happily in her one-pillared palace. When she saw the bright light outside, she was surprised. She called her maids and said, "Hey, I'm really surprised. There is no wedding ceremony, nor it is time for the Diwali, nor any festival of lights. So please find out quickly who is having this festival of lights, or why these lamps are lit across the city." At this time, Vikramaditya finished the musical composition of Rag Deep. Soon after that, the lights were turned off, but then he started to sing the musical composition of Rag Shri. So Padmasena said to her maids, "It is certain now that this singer is no ordinary singer. He must be an expert in music, so please find out where he lives, and better yet, just bring him over here." So 4 maids went to search the whereabouts of the singer and found him operating the grinder at the oilman's place. So they came back to Padmasena and told her about the singer. They told her that singer looked like a clown, he was limbless, and he was convicted by her father. But Padmasena insisted that they bring that singer to a palace so that she would even marry him, even if her father, the king, convicted him as a thief. Because she was very much impressed by his music, by his singing, and she wanted to listen to him. Afterwards, the maids agreed to bring the singer if Padmasena took the responsibility to face her father, King Chandrasen. So Padmasena assured them that she would tell her father everything. Thereupon the maids brought the singer, the thief Vikramaditya, to her palace. Padmasena said to Vikramaditya, "Please continue your singing, as I am very much eager to listen to your music." So king started to sing like an expert. He started singing as an expert in a most melodious voice in Prince's palace. King Chandrasen from far away could hear the singing in his palace. So he asked the maids, "What is going on in this prince's palace?" As if there is festivity going on day and night. So maids replied with request, "Please go to the palace of the princess and see it for yourself." But king was feeling very sleepy. Then he postponed the visiting his daughter, the princess of Padmasena. King Vikramaditya was sitting in the prince's palace with too many worries. Shanidev's curse for 7.5 years, that is Sadesati, was about to subside. So he was thinking when Shanidev would be pleased with him so he could return back to his city of Ujjaini. While he was thinking in this way, Shanidev appeared happily in front of him. Shanidev said to him, "It looks like you have not recognized me due to ignorance. Do you not experience enough of my wrath?" So the king tried to stand up, but being limbless, he laid down on the ground in a gesture of bowing down to Shanidev. Then Shanidev said, "I am pleased with you, King Vikramaditya. So ask me for any blessings from me and I'll fulfill your wish." So king said, "I only wish that you will have mercy and not give any more trouble to the mankind. I have suffered a lot, but rest of the people cannot bear this suffering the way I suffered. That's the only thing I am asking as a boon from you, Shanidev." So Shanidev restored his limbs, turned his body beautiful, and then king bowed down to Shanidev and said again, "You will have mercy, O my lord, and you will not give any more trouble to the mankind." Shanidev said, "Okay, I have troubled you a lot, but you should see how much trouble I have caused to Gurudev. As compared to Gurudev's trouble, your trouble will look insignificant. Listen also to the story about how I troubled gods and demons." And so began Shanidev's story. Shanidev narrated the following story to King Vikramaditya. One morning, I bowed down to Gurudev. Then I requested him with a very folded hands, "Please accept me in your zodiac sign for next 7.5 years. Gurudev said, "Please do not come into my zodiac sign at all." Then I said, "You don't like me and you want to avoid me. In fact, nobody wants me. So please let me be with you for at least 5 years or perhaps at least 2.5 years. But Gurudev still refused and said, "No, I am telling you boldly, please do not come into my house." So I bowed down to Gurudev and requested him, "Ask me anything, sir. I am pleased with you." So Gurudev said to me, "I am asking you not to bother me." And I said to Gurudev, "I'll be in your zodiac sign for only 15 hours, 7.5 prahars. Can you please allow me? Now you cannot refuse me." So finally, Gurudev agreed to Shanidev to be in his zodiac sign for just 2.5 hours. From 7.5 years, Gurudev and Shani Bappa settled for 2.5 hours. Gurudev thought and boasted that, well, he would spend this short period of 2.5 hours taking bath in a river and praying gods. This prayer is called Sandhya. And in that time, nothing will happen to me in such a short duration. Shanidev will not be able to harm him. Thinking that, he agreed to Gurudev's 2.5 hours of his time period to be in his house. Shanidev knew what Gurudev was thinking. So Shanidev decided to show his miraculous power. As it was the right time for Shanidev, Guru became eager to take bath in the river Ganga. Guru was then under the shadow of Shanidev, and Guru's appearance changed. Shanidev appeared as a monk and offered Gurudev 2 cantaloupe fruits. Gurudev happily accepted those 2 cantaloupe fruits, put them in the bag, and gave the monk 2 coins in return. And Gurudev kept on going towards a city. It so happened that day, the prince and his minister's son of that city had gone for hunting. They did not return home for lunch. More than 2.5 hours passed and still there was no trace of prince and his minister's son. The name of the king was Bhrigu. So King Bhrigu sent his servants to search for them beyond the borders of the city. The servants saw Guru in Brahmin's dress. As they were hunting the prince, they met Guru. The servants saw Guru in Brahmin's dress with a bag containing 2 cantaloupe fruits. At that time, Shanidev turned those 2 fruits into human heads by miracle. The king's servant saw Guru. the Brahmin and asked, "What do you have in your bag?" So Brahmin said, "I have two fruits and I will eat them later," not knowing that the cantaloupes have become the human heads. The servant said, "But there is a blood dripping from your bag, so we don't care whether you are a Brahmin or a low caste. Show us immediately what is in your bag." As soon as the Guru saw the blood in his bag, he was scared. The servant snatched the bag from the Brahmin and opened it to see two heads belonging to the prince and his friend. So they scolded Brahmin, "You do not have remorse in killing those two kids mercilessly like a cruel demon. You have committed this heinous crime and heinous act. You are unworthy to be a Brahmin." In this form, they shackled the Brahmin and beat him black and blue. While beating him, they brought him in front of King Brigu. When King Brigu heard the news about his son, he just fainted. He fainted and shouted, "Oh my God, I lost my only son. This Brahmin who killed my son is like a death messenger. He must be punished by the death penalty and must be executed by hanging him on the sharp-pointed iron pillar outside the city limits." There was a lot of commotion when the news about the prince's death spread in the palace of King Brigu. It is difficult to write the details about the commotion, but Prince's wife decided to leap into the fire and self-immolate herself. She was prepared to do this self-immolation in grief. Meanwhile, the servants took the Brahmin to the sharp-pointed iron pillar. The Brahmin became restless and could not think about his bad luck. He requested the servant, please wait for some time. Please wait for some time, I will bless you. Please wait for a couple of hours." The servant felt compassion when they heard the Brahmin's plea and decided to wait for a couple of hours. By this time, the limit of 2.5 hours set by Shanidev was over. The prince and his companion came riding the horse where the execution was about to take place. The villagers told the prince about what was going to happen and what might have happened, so they ordered the servant not to execute the Brahmin and bring him back to the king. Back in the palace, when servants brought the Brahmin to the king, the Brahmin blessed the king and explained him everything about the event. The king felt so sorry. "I have committed a great crime," he narrated. The king said, "I have committed a great crime by giving your execution order without knowing the full details. I am the greatest sinner due to ignorance and the ego of my royal power. So please forgive me," as he started to cry. Then King Bhrigu honored Gurudev by giving him and any other Brahmin feast with gifts of clothes and ornaments. So Gurudev said that this happened due to the curse of Shanidev. Then he opened his bag and indeed there were two cantaloupes and not the human heads of the prince and his friend. Then Shanidev came near Gurudev and asked him how it went so far. So Gurudev replied, "In just 2.5 hours, you have ruined me. You have ruined me to the death. I cannot imagine what would have happened if you had stayed in my house for full 7.5 years. Though I am the highest ranking planet, you have indeed obliged me. In fact, you are the greatest planet. However, whatever happened, happened for good. So please do not trouble anybody anymore." That was Gurudev's prayer to Shanidev. So Shani said, "One should not brag and blow his own horns. I will trouble the person who brags about himself. Gurudev, you boasted that you could stay 2.5 hours praying gods. And so I had to act like this. Please forgive me for the act." Hearing this, Gurudev and Shanidev parted the ways. Going further, Shanidev was narrating another story about Lord Shiva. Shanidev went to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva said to Shani, "What is the purpose of your visit? First take my appointment and then only visit me." While they were discussing like this, Shani suggested that he would visit Shiva on the following day. After listening this, Shiva was hiding in the Kailash mountain for some time. He was scared that Shanidev's eyes would be on him and he would get infected. Then he said to Shanidev, "What did I do to you? So why you want to trouble me?" So Shani said, "Oh Lord Shiva, all the 3 universes are scared of you and you are hiding from me out of fear. This is enough for me." Then Shiva smiled and said to him, "You are great. Your brilliance is overwhelming." And then he ordered him to leave. and Shanidev happily went away from Shiva. Then Shanidev was in a critical position of Lord Sri Rama's horoscope. Thereby, Sri Ram had to live in the forest, and something happened in Sita's horoscope with the result that Ravana kidnapped her. Ravan, the great demon king, conquered all the 9 planets and imprisoned them under his seat. This is a story about Lord Shanidev troubling Ravan. So Ravan conquered all the 9 planets and imprisoned them under his seat. Narada, sage Narada, he commented looking at Lord Shanidev and said, "You are proud to be great planet, but your condition seems to be helpless. It seems that you can trouble only the weak. There is no bravery." So said Narada to Shanidev. Shanidev said, "I am helpless as Ravan has my face down. Hence I cannot see him. As soon as I can cast my eyes on Ravana, I will destroy him." Hearing this, Narada had a plan. Narada wanted to help Shanidev. So Narada Muni went to see Ravana and told him, "It is not nice to walk on the back of the enemy, but it is nicer to walk on the enemy's body with the face up, so you could see his face. So you should turn all the 9 planets to face you so that they can see you." So Ravana agreed and turned all the planets face up. As soon as Shani would cast his eyes on Ravana, he ruined Ravana and his entire family within 6 months and ultimately killed him through Lord Rama. This is how Shanidev affected Ravana. Then Shanidev came to the cruelest position of 12th house of King Harishchandra. The king lost his kingdom. He was in deep trouble. So much that he had to sell his wife. Not only that, he had to sell himself to a low caste person. The low caste person whom he had to sell was Dome. Due to Shani's influence, the king Nal had disturbed the constellation of Sage Kaushik. So Sage Kaushik cursed him, that is King Nal, and his queen Damayanti. That caused a lot of suffering to them. Shani said, "This is how I trouble the greatest of the kings." Indradev had holes in his body. The reason why Indradev had holes in his body, because Indradev did not behave properly with the wife of Gautam Rishi. Seeing this, Indradev was under the spell of Shanidev, and as a result, Indradev got holes in his body. Shani was in Chandra's house, and Chandra's mind was not working fine. Chandra got blemishes after touching Guru's wife in bad intention. When Shani was in a bad position in horoscope of Sage Vaishishta lost 100 sons. He also troubled Sara, who was under Shani's spell. Due to Shani's spell, Pandavas lost everything and they had to live in the forest. Under Shani Dev's spell, Kauravas lost everything in just a moment. The same thing happened with Lord Krishna. He was accused of stealing Samyantak jewel. You can read about these incidents about Lord Krishna in the book Hari Vijay. Then Lord Krishna said to Shanidev, "You are the greatest planet. All the demons and all the gods are scared of you." Shani said to King Vikrama, "This is how I troubled gods and demons. I have troubled you a little bit to demonstrate my extraordinary power." Then the king got up immediately and bowed down to Shanidev and said, "I am surrendering to you for your mercy, and please favor me by giving me the boon that you will not trouble anybody." So Shani said to Vikrama, "You are also great. You think about pains of other men and women. There is no parallel to your thoughts," and he was pleased with Vikramaditya. Shanidev gave this boon to Vikramaditya. Shanidev narrated, "I will never trouble those who will read or listen or preserve this story. I will be pleased with them and will protect them day and night. I will bring wrath to those who will not read this story or ridicule this story." So never ever ridicule this story. One should read this Shani Mahatma every day or at least every Saturday without eating anything in a happy mood. If you cannot do this, at least you listen to this story a day or night. This will make him happy and he will not trouble anyone. Shanidev further said to Vikrama, "Such person who will follow and read this story will also have good fortune, and this is his promise." And saying this, Shanidev went to his abode after blessing King Vikramaditya. Now the next part starts. Now listen carefully what happened next. When Shanidev met King Vikramaditya in Princess Padmasena's palace, King Vikramaditya's body became very radiant as if the sun was shining. King Chandrasen was very stunned and speechless when he saw King Vikramaditya. He looked like a beautiful statue of Madan. He was looking very handsome as if he was a god of love. Then Padmasena married to King Vikramaditya. At this time, King Chandrasen asked King Vikramaditya, "Sir, who are you?" Vikrama said, "I am your thief. So first of all, please call merchant Shripati." So the group of servants rushed to bring the merchant Shripati, who was resting on his bed. The servant said to him, "The king has summoned you to the court, so please hurry." The merchant rushed to king's court and bowed down before the king. When king asked the merchant replied, pointing to King Vikramaditya, "This is the thief indeed, so please come to my house." And they all go to the guest room, which was the painter's room. When all of them reached at the artist studio, they noticed that the lifeless swan from the picture took out the pearl necklace that was swallowed by him. Everybody was surprised to see this and said, though it is impossible, the lifeless swan, as a matter of fact, did swallow the pearl necklace, and this great man Vikramaditya was blamed. Then the merchant was very happy, and he pleaded and gave his daughter to Vikramaditya in marriage. King Chandrasen asked Vikrama, "From where did you come? Where is your family? Where were you born? Who are you?" Then Vikrama said to Chandrasen, "My name is Vikram. I am the king of Ujjaini." When King Chandrasen heard this, he bowed down and said, "I have offended you very much, and now please have mercy on me." That is because King Vikramaditya was an emperor and King Chandrasen was just a small king of a small kingdom. So he was afraid that Vikramaditya would take a revenge, but no. Then King Chandrasen leads him, says, "I have offended you very much. Had I known this earlier, you would not have been suffered. How this could be undone when I have acted unknowingly?" Vikrama as graciously said, "This happened due to the planet's position in my horoscope. Also, I did not worship Shanidev. I had to suffer when I mocked Lord Shanidev and I did not worship Shanidev. So you think and act according to the planet's position in the horoscope. Now you are talking to me in this manner because the planets and Shanidev are in favorable position in my horoscope." Then King Chandrasen, listening to this, was happy, and then he spent lot of wealth from his treasure to celebrate the occasion. He also spent lot of wealth on charity and pleased the beggars. Then he called the oilman who hosted King Vikramaditya. Vikramaditya bowed down to the oilman and pleased him with gifts of land. Chandrasen was smiling. He was smiling endlessly for his good fortune as Emperor Vikramaditya was his son-in-law. After a month, Vikram told Chandrasen that he has to now leave for Ujjaini. Chandrasen then bid him farewell with all the etiquettes such as giving him gifts, servants, giving elephants, horse, army, land, including cities. The merchant also gave many gifts such as expensive jewels when he gave away his daughter to Vikramaditya. King Vikramaditya came to Ujjaini with all the gifts. The happy citizens decorated the whole city. They were very happy. Then on a very auspicious time, Vikramaditya was enthroned. That time, he gave gifts to the beggars to make them happy. Then he was free of worries and he continued to follow the worship of Shanidev for end of his life. And then he never had any troubles due to blessings of Shanidev. This is the end of the story of King Vikramaditya and Shanidev. This story is read in Maharashtra, and Tatyaji Mahapati, the poet who narrated this story, says that I try to bring the total essence, the fundamental real meaning of this story, and present it with my best ability to the faithful audience. And I try to translate into English to the best of my ability. By reading this book, all the obstacles are removed. After listening to this story, troubles from the adverse position of the planets that are very severe will also vanish for endless time. After listening to the story of the 9 planets, all the pains will be gone, and all the planet will be pleased and have mercy upon the listeners. Shanidev is recognized as a guardian to the writer, and as well as this English translator and the narrator. Shanidev also is a guardian of the readers of the story as well as the listeners of the story, and they will be free of all sorts of pains all the time. Just by visualizing the picture of Lord Shanidev all the time, day and night, the faithful is protected by Shanidev. His all pains and poverty will vanish after listening to this story. This is the result of this story. Tatyaji Mahapati, who wrote this story from the Gujarati version, says, May Shanidev, who is fearsome but with compassion, be pleased with all of us and also remove our obstacles. This is end of Shanidev's story. Actually, the one who is inspired to speak and write and translate and transcribe into English is him, the Lord Almighty. Other claims are false as everything is done in the grace of Shri Panduranga, the God. This is end of Shani Mahatma. Peace.